Imagine living 15,000 years ago. You are part of a small band of hunter gatherers. Your groups roam freely through forests and grasslands, picking fruits, hunting deer, fishing in rivers, and gathering honey. Life is not easy, but it is varied and flexible. You work for a few hours of a day, spend evenings around the fire, tell stories, and move on when the land is exhausted. This was the life of an average hunter gatherer. Then, around 10,000 years ago, humans stumbled upon a discovery that changed everything. If you put seeds into the ground, they grow. This moment, seemingly innocent moment, launched what we now call the agricultural revolution or the Neolithic revolution, which brought about the shift from foraging to farming. And with it, the fate of humanity was rewritten forever. What is agricultural revolution and why did it begin? The revolution was not a single invention in one place. Instead, it happened independently across the world. In the fertile crescent of the Middle East, people began cultivating wheat and barley. In China, rice farming took root. In Mexico, maize became the staple, while in the Andes, potatoes and llamas entered human life. Africa domesticated yams and sorghum, and in India, early rice and pulses appeared. But why did it happen at all? Several forces came together. The ice age ended, the climate warmed, and plants grew more abundantly. Human populations were expanding, too many mouths to feed by hunting alone. Farming promised stability. Grain could be stored for the winter, herds could be raised instead of chased. Agriculture seemed like a clever upgrade, the next step in human progress. How did it spread? This farming package of crops and animals spread slowly but surely, sometimes through migration, farmers moving into new lands, sometimes even through conquest, that is, one tribe forcing another to adopt agriculture, and sometimes even through imitation, neighbors observing the productivity of farmers and copying their methods. Within a few thousand years, almost every corner of the world had traded in the bow and spear for the plough and sickle. Agricultural revolution transformed human life. Agriculture was not just about food. It triggered a cascade of changes that shaped civilization itself. It led to permanent settlements. Foragers were wanderers, but farmers built villages near their fields. Villages grew into towns, and towns into cities. This led to population boom. More food meant more babies survived, and human numbers skyrocketed. It led to surplus and specialization. Farming created extra food. Not everyone needed to farm anymore. Some became craftsmen, priests, rulers, and soldiers. Civilization diversified. However, it also led to property and inequality. Foragers shared what they hunted, but farmers hoarded grain, bought land, and passed it down to heirs. Wealth gaps appeared for the first time. The concept of private property appeared. Institutions like marriage also appeared because of the agricultural revolution. It also led to politics and power. Grain had to be stored, irrigation had to be managed, disputes had to be settled. This gave birth to leaders, armies, laws, taxation, and empires. Kings and kingdoms arose. It also led to the growth of culture and knowledge. Stable societies allowed the birth of writing, religion, monumental architecture, art, and science. In short, farming was the spark that created civilization as we know it today. However, some call it history's biggest fraud. This is a twist. Many thinkers like Yuval Noah Harari argue that agricultural revolution was not a blessing that we assume. For the entire species, yes, it was a success. We became powerful, we conquered nature, and we multiplied across the earth. Our populations increased. But for the individual human, life actually became worse. Farmers' diets became monotonous, just wheat and rice, leading to malnutrition compared to the varied diet of hunter gatherers. Also, farming meant endless toil. From sunrise to sunset in the fields, people worked very hard, unlike the much easier and relatively shorter workdays of hunters. Settled life brought new diseases. Crowded villages and animal domestication created epidemics and pandemics. Also, social hierarchies appeared for the first time, which led to exploitation. Kings and landlords ruled while peasants sweated in the fields. These social hierarchies led to unjust practices or systems like feudalism. Land hunger sparked wars, invasions, and slavery. And the cruelest irony, more food meant more people, but not necessarily better lives. Surpluses fueled population growth, which always caught up with supply. As Harari famously puts it, we thought we domesticated wheat, but in truth, wheat domesticated us. Humans became servants to their crops, bending their backs, chained to the fields, multiplying endlessly, and being dependent on rain, which was always uncertain, and they believed that they have advanced. To conclude, the Neolithic Revolution was not just a change in how humans got food, it was the beginning of everything that we now call civilization. Cities, writing, nations, religion, science, art, and technology. But it was also the root of inequality, overwork, disease, and war. It was a bargain humanity couldn't undo once it started. The agricultural revolution helped us increase our numbers in millions and billions. However, for an individual human being, life actually became worse. In simple terms, the agricultural revolution was both our greatest triumph and our deepest trap. It made us rulers of the earth as a species, but an individual human became prisoner of the plow. That's why many call it the biggest gamble and the biggest fraud in human history. Thank you so much for listening.